are from the same family, the same with the family of genocide, and they go on to explain it. But
can you post the chat, or I can look for
sure, I can find it. It was in Ares. Goldberg. The particular rule to be universally applied or not, because there are a lot of things that, in my opinion, are descriptive, but the church calls them prescriptive, and vice versa. So I think it all depends on what you want to do with that verse that you called it. Tell you, as much as I love our veterans, I get PTSD every time I go, and I went there with them this morning for breakfast, and that kind of drug me down. Yeah, I stayed up too late last night. Shit.
Sorry. I found it. It's called, I'm going to put it in the chat. And that's the real, like, no two genocides look the same. That's not the point, you know? You can acknowledge that no two genocides look the same, and acknowledge that there's different factors, and still see the Holocaust as instructive and useful to prevent and a warning. And then
Igor did a great job by positing that. Like, he showed the uniqueness of it. At the same time, like, he showed how reductionist one can be in that approach. I think he posited really well.
And that's why I wanted to hear more from him, because, like, his people experienced a genocide too. Igor, can you come back up? Because I think we're talking about, yeah.
Hello?
Your opinion was really valid. I wanted to zoom out and compare it to other
Hello?
people experience it and their sensitivities about the comparison.
Hello?
Like, how do you see the death of your relatives as useful for, or how do you make it meaningful? I don't know. I'm curious to what extent people are willing.
My position, that's why I was against all the crimes that we did in the 90s, right? So I don't think that the justification of my people suffering justify killing others. So I don't have a problem with the war per se, army against army, but like the civilians, women, kids, I'm against that. But like I said, I actually have a problem when we starting comparing some like very horrible crimes like the Holocaust with some other genocide because we watered it down, right? And I believe there is like, we can't compare a genocide in Srebrenica with the Holocaust. Even, you know, it's a genocide, it's horrible, but I think it's unfair, you know? So if you're trying to be intellectually honest, I'm kind of against that, like I said. And I lay out my reasons why I don't think it's positive. And also I don't think it's like, if you was calling something Holocaust, how to say this in English, I believe that you kind of pushing a lot of people outside of point you want to make it, right?
Igor, can I
say
something?
Yeah, after
it's fine. I'm a little bit trembling because I'm trying to translate in English, so I apologize.
Okay, go ahead.
But like if you, yeah, go on.
For a long time, I had a lot of reservation of referring a lot of people started to use the word Holocaust in reference to Gaza, and I didn't like it, and I was against it, and it made me feel uncomfortable. And there was a single explanation that I also always gave, that the Holocaust industrialized death. And as much as Gaza was a genocide, there was no industrialization. That is until they started doing the General's Plan and the Gaza Humanitarian Fund and those death traps. That was engineered. Somebody sat down, somebody wrote a plan, somebody executed the plan. That to me was the benchmark. Once you industrialize the murder, once you industrialize the GHF, for example, exploited people's basic needs for food in order to exterminate them and put them down like fish in a barrel. That was a full-on industrialization of murder.
Yeah.
And that's when I started using the word.
Yeah, I understand your point, but like, for example, you will not call the Holocaust of the Serbs in Croatia, where...
I don't know enough about it.
So let him speak.
Yeah, let me tell you. So basically, you had a plan from the Nazi Croatians who who wanted to one-third of Serbs to be killed, one-third to be ethnically cleansed, and one-third to change their religion in Catholicism. So the name was, the plan was from the Budak. So it doesn't matter. I don't want to go to details.
Will the moderators allow me to engage? Because I know Serbia.
Wait, let me finish. Let me finish this.
Yes, wait your turn.
Yeah, so point I'm making, like after World War II, we collectively agreed that Holocaust is a Jewish suffering, right? And I think should be left. I don't mind that we can like calling different names like genocide, ethnic cleansing, whatever the legal term we want to use it, right? But I think it's like reductive, like who said it? Narges said,
Yeah.
right? That we using like a broad brush on every crime, and what you describe happened in other genocide, right? But we still don't have that hate that Nazi had toward the Jews, right?
Okay.
That's why I'm making the distinction. Okay, sorry.
So I want to make a point. So I think Emrose and I are coming from, and Israelis and Jews.
She cut out too.
Yeah, you muted.
Sorry, we don't see it through the Serbian genocide. We see it through our own genocide, of course, right? And so I think it's natural that we would compare it to the Holocaust just because that was our historical trauma, and this is now perpetuated by our people. I think that's why that's why we made that link. And also to Emrose's point, I always saw industrialization in sort of the AI munition system. They created new technologies, just like the Nazis created the concentration camps and then the gas chambers in order to sort of take the fingerprints off the killing, because the Nazis were coming back with PTSD from shooting kids in the head while they're screaming. So they said, what can we do so they don't have to see the death, right? They could just push a button. And this is similar, this is even more hands-off when they're just using an AI-generated targets and like drones, so there's literally no fingerprints and no one feels culpability for the mass deaths that are happening. To me, I see that sort of invention of new AI technologies and machines to do the killing is another form of industrialization, an industrialized killing that detaches the killer from the
It seems that, making like we see atrocities and comparing them to the Holocaust doesn't seem to be problematic. The problem, I think, that becomes really insensitive is when we say like a Holocaust, this is a Holocaust, rather than comparing it to the Holocaust. That's where I think there's a little bit of insensitivity that's happening unawaredly. Am I saying that word correctly? And I'm now aware of it. Like this was very educational for me to note the difference, right? There is a true difference by saying, insert whatever atrocity is a Holocaust. You're really kind of negating the actual Holocaust by dropping the Holocaust, like saying this is like the Holocaust in these ways, but instead you're saying a Holocaust, which is like really in a kind of way making what should be the title of an event, minimizing it. Like it brings it down.
It makes it not singular. It's a singular event, and now you're making it like just it dilutes it.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah,
So Buttercup,
Wait, I want to hear from Igor. Yeah, go ahead.
So would you like say that all slavery is the same, right? That is the distinction that I'm making, right? So that's a question for you. Would you say that every slavery, even they have
I made that point earlier, Igor.
No, I understand, but
okay.
If we making the point that we can call everything Holocaust, that I disagree, then could we call like all slavery, Arab slavery, slavery in Ottoman Empire, Roman Empire slavery, chattel slavery, is they all the same or not? Or we can make distinctions? Yeah. That is my angle. I'm coming from my perspective.
Of course, we should make distinctions. No two slaveries are the same, but that doesn't mean we can't talk generally, broadly about slavery and what and try to prevent, because we must talk broadly about it as a theme and understand the common threads, right? In order to oppose it.
Like there's a difference between saying like
I was at work or like I was in this event and they treated me like a slave, right? That could be so offensive. But if we're saying, like in the slave trade, when they did ... they're doing ... there's a less, we can distinct the
Okay, so we're talking about, let's say human trafficking. Let's say Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
Would you compare
Right.
that to slavery because he's trafficking?
So it like if you say the people that were human trafficked were like the slaves in America, right? Like that could probably be offensive. But if you say something like, for example, this isn't the way it was, but it's a quick example. People were bought and sold, like they were in the slave trade. They were bought and sold also. Like, to make it like distinct comparison is one thing, but to do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're
you want to be as specific as possible about the criteria, so you're not lumping in or generalizing about the experiences.
Yeah, like for example, I use something a comparison often, right, to show that brutalized people do brutal things, and I talk about how the abolitionists were asked, do you condone the slave rebellion? Like the slaves turn on their slave masters and killed a whole bunch of people. Do you condone that? They're like, no. Like, we don't condone that, but we told you this would happen. We told you.
We told you this would happen.
Often. In other examples, hold on a second. To show that, like, listen, when you brutalize people, we're not saying that we condone something, but we're saying that this is an inevitability of what happens to brutalized people at some point. That they also can return brutality for brutality for brutality.
Right. I think that's a good point in a way. I understand the point you're trying to make, and I think that something that me and Emerald were making too when we were trying to say to Igor, like what we see, like when we point out a specific aspect of the war, which we say reminds us of the way the Holocaust unfolded, because we as Jews are very versed in the Holocaust, and it's so much part of our narrative and the prism through which we see the world. And so she took one aspect of the war and saw industrialized killing. I saw another aspect of the war and recognized industrialized killing. And the reason we recognize it is because the Holocaust has so shaped our psyche and the way we see the world.
I have a couple of comments. Isn't this conflict? What's the idea of debating about how do we call it if he does not recognize it's a genocide?
I think we're talking about whether or not we can compare this genocide to the Holocaust, because
it is worse. It is worse than the Holocaust. Sometimes this can upset a lot of people, but I don't think the Holocaust will be broadcasted in 4K on TikTok that you guys have been seeing live every morning. I don't did anything about it. A lot of the war up until it was too late.
excellent.
What's Gaza was broadcasted 4K on your TV, on your phones, everywhere. You didn't do shit about it, so it is worse. Why? Because it says about these people that you're shitty genocidal supporters.
Yes.
You're looking at it, and you did not do shit about it. So
That's right.
Who did not say shit about it cannot fucking tell people what to say about it. For me, it is worse than the Holocaust. It's not about the numbers, because
You made your point. You made your point.
because the Belgians killed way more Africans than Jews. So it's not about the number.
Okay, so Benny, just to thread everything together, that is precisely the point we're making, that it's not an apples to apples comparison. In some aspects it's worse. In some aspects, people might say, it's never, no two genocides are alike, and the situations are different. And there are different aspects. Some parts are more horrific. Some parts, people say, oh, but it was provoked or whatever, stuff like that. No two genocides are alike. That doesn't mean you can't compare specific characteristics to the Holocaust. Like, it's just the question of whether the Holocaust is something sacred that can never be invoked, right? And that's something that some Jews feel, that it's sacred, it can never be invoked. Yes.
I got to push back on it's worse. I had a more nuanced thing to say, but I just really reject the notion that it's worse.
It's one characteristic that's worse, right?
Yeah, I just think that I just think attempting to tiptoe to the areas that are worse is so unproductive.
I don't care what you feel about it.
Yeah.
I want to
Well,
show
finish his
that
point.
Yeah. Just relax.
I am very relaxed.
So, no, just relax. So, if Hitler was the prime minister of Israel and he wanted to kill the Palestinians, what he would have done was round up all the Arab Israelis and gas them.
He's doing it already.
So
He's doing it.
This kind of
Okay,
No, he's doing
we gotta
it.
do one at a time. One at a time.
What's
one
the
at a time.
next?
One at a time,
This
please.
is very, very, very confused thinking. Starting to talk about what's happening is worse. Is very confused and unproductive for
Really, what's
all
behind your back?
No, don't tell the fucking Palestinians what to think. Focus on yourself.
Just relax, man.
No, I'm not gonna fucking. No, dude,
Just
listen.
relax.
You can talk about you guys as Jewish, what you think.
Shape, hold on. Shape, can I say?
I'd like to finish my
No,
point.
just a second.
We're gonna let him finish his point. Shape is gonna land. He's gonna land.
I'd like to finish my point. Everybody relax. What is clearly happening is Netanyahu is trying